Alright, so there's a lot of different ways to do this, but this is how I'm going to make an archery target. It's going to be 3 foot by 4 foot. It's going to be framed out of 2x12s. There's the sides on the floor. I'm going to shove it full of plastic bags and packaging foam. And then this is a floor or a stall mat from Tractor Supply, and that's going to be the outside what I'm actually shooting through. I've seen some people use cardboard, but I thought this would be a little more robust. It was somewhat expensive, but pretty much worth it. We got, for all the lumber, we're up about 25, 30 bucks from like Lowe's or Menards or whatever. 40 bucks for the stall mat, and the plastic bags and shit I just got from Kroger. That's like what they recycle all your plastic bags. So I just went in and asked if I could take it, and they said yeah. So we'll get this thing rolling and show you as we progress. Alright, so here is our 3 foot by 4 foot box. Like I said, it was 2x12s. I just did a simple butt joint, so your inside pieces are going to end up being 33 inches, and then obviously your height's 4 foot. And that's just taking into account the thickness of the wood. And the reason I'm specifically going for a 3 foot by 4 foot is that the stall floor mat I bought from Tractor Supply was 4 foot by 6 foot. So I'm just going to cut it in half, and then I get one for the front, one for the back. So theory being, once I shoot up the front, I can just turn it around and I've got the same thing on the back. That's my theory. So we're going to go ahead and cut this, mount it up onto the one side of this, flip it over, stuff it full of plastic, and I'll show you what that looks like. Alright y'all, so here's an update. You can see we've got the floor mat cut. There's the other piece over there. It's kind of heavy and a bitch to cut, I will tell you that. So if you can get a 3x4 mat and not have to cut it, I'd recommend it. But I don't know if you can see this. This is bowing in the middle. It kind of, goes down like that because of the weight and density of the floor mat, or the stall mat. So I'm hoping that once I get it tacked in place with a bunch of nails and shit, that the plastic from the inside, like the pressure from the plastic on the inside, will fix that. But if not, we'll see what the hell happens. So let's see what happens after I get it tacked together and full with plastic. Alright, so here it is, all packed full of those plastic bags and some other random packaging I had. I'm hoping it's enough. I can package it quite a bit. So hopefully it'll stop an arrow. To tell you the truth, I think these stall mats would stop an arrow on their own. So I don't think it'll really be that big of a deal, but we'll get her put together, shoot it, and see what the hell happens. Alright, there it is. All put together. The bubble in the middle definitely seemed to go away once we put plastic in it. So we're going to take it outside and shoot her, and if it works, I'll go ahead and I'm going to wrap it in a tarp so I can just leave it outside, and I'll probably add some handles to make it easier to get around. So we'll show you some clips of shooting her all finished up. Alright, so there's my initial test shot. Turns out that floor mat pretty much stops it on its own. It barely had enough to actually stick in there. Now I'm shooting this with a 40-pound recurve. As you can see, it's a, there it is, Ben Pearson Cougar, 40-pound recurve. So I mean, arrow speeds aren't super crazy, and it's just a field tip. So I feel like I kind of over-engineered this, and I'm gonna have to put some cardboard on the front. So we will try that. Alright everyone, so we are trying to take off the stall mat, which is over there, and I'm currently using some roofing nails to put a big sheet of cardboard on the target instead of the stall mat, because like you saw in the previous clip, the stall mat was too strong for my 40-pound bow and arrows. Now, if you have a compound bow that's like 80 or 100 pounds, the stall mat may work for you. You may get through that and get some good penetration, and that may be good. But for me, I'm gonna go with cardboard, and hopefully this works better. I don't have a compound bow, so I can't speak to how well it will work. but it might be something worth trying for you, and that way the stall mat should withstand a lot more beating than the cardboard with a heavier poundage bow. So we'll get this on, flip it over, do the other side, and shoot it and see what happens. All right, so that worked a little bit better. We actually have some penetration. Not a good enough reason to use the word penetrate. Anybody with a quote? So we got it there. Oops, hold on. Ah! Pull it back out. So we got about 6 to 8 inches of penetration. So there's the target. Again, it's 3 foot by 4 foot, pretty big ass target. But I'm actually going to take the stall mats, and we're gonna make a like a backdrop for it. So in case I'm so terrible that I miss in the backyard, it's gonna hit that and not my house or not my neighbor's kids or something. So we're gonna wrap this in a tarp so it's waterproof and weatherproof, and throw a target on it. Okay, so now it's time for that backstop I talked about. So you can kind of see how it's gonna fit. Basically I got 2x4s. I was gonna do an 8x8 frame, but I'm gonna go a 6x6 because the box is 3 foot by 4 foot, and I figure I've got a mat that's 4 foot by 6 foot, so it's gonna hang a little bit off the ground, but I figure if I shoot into the ground I don't mind. I'm just trying to protect all the shit on my house behind here. So it's gonna be 6 foot wide by 3 foot tall. Overall frame is gonna be 6x6. So we're gonna tack this thing together with some screws, and I'll kind of show you as we move along here. All right, there it is, all finished up. So we got the target. It's just sitting here. We put the backstop. If you can see, I took the stall mats that I had cut in half, and I put them up 6 foot wide by 3 foot tall, and then I hung them up 6 foot tall. So there's about 2.5, 3 feet on the bottom that isn't covered, but I figure if I go low, you know, not a huge deal. It'll just hit the dirt or hit the cement. What we're really trying to protect is, you know, all this shit back here. So yeah, it's pretty simple. It's just the mat sandwiched between a couple of 2x4s. So back here is your basic frame, and then it goes down. Same on the other side. I got a brace down there, and then this is just another piece of 2x4 that's sandwiched. And if I would have planned better, I would have cut this top piece longer to account for this thickness, this difference here. So what I ended up doing, I just cut a slit here so that this thing, this 2x4 that's sandwiching could sit flush. So I would recommend doing that. This was kind of just, I ran out of lumber, couldn't make another cut, so is what it is, it'll do the trick. To mount it in the ground, I'm not gonna lie, it was a huge bitch, so I'd recommend getting a friend. Now, I didn't want to pour concrete or dig a hole or anything, so essentially what I did was I got a cement block. They're like $1.12 at Lowe's, and then I essentially had these scrap pieces and just made a little wedge. So this is in there really good, just with the weight of this thing, because these stall mats are pretty heavy. And then essentially there's a couple scrap pieces of 2x4 down here bracing it, and then it tilts back at a slight angle, and then I wedge this 1x down in there. So this thing is like, it moves a little bit, but it ain't going nowhere, I'll tell you that much. Which is nice, because essentially it's holding itself up with, you know, weight and tension. So if I need to move it at any point, it'll be super easy. I don't have to dig a hole or anything. So yeah, there it is. We're gonna take some shots at it and see what the hell happens.